What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Dubstar, and we're returning to the 2018 album One. Thank you again to Phil, and as always to Mark as well for commenting throughout this journey. And the next tune almost feels like a reply or an extension of the concept of the first song, which was Love Comes Late, because it's Love Gathers. So, yeah, it feels like after love arrived late, it has now gathered. I don't know if there's any direct connection or if it is sort of the unfolding of a larger concept album, but yeah, it's hard not to think of a potential connection to the titles. But yeah, Love Gathering would suggest, I suppose, or at least imply, that love is comprised of a certain volume, but with individual units or parts, and so it does not all manifest completely or as a whole, but manifest through the accumulation or aggregation of individual love units, whether you are quantifying them or defining them or not. So yeah, I wonder, I mean, it is personifying love as well. Love is not something that is a conscious, deliberative entity in of itself. It is the expression of sentiment and feeling and affection and affinity from one being to another, sapient, maybe. At the very least, there are emotional cognitions which we know non-human biological species to articulate or possess, and thus, love, I think most narrowly is defined as a specifically human expression / emotion, but on a wider view, you could argue that it is at the very least applicable in some other biological circumstances. This probably has nothing to do with what the track's about, so I'll stop blabbering. Let's give it a listen. This is Dubstar, the track is Love Gathers, and it's from their 2018 album One.
Closest kin with every misplaced kiss. You made me go undercover, felt like I was your lover, but without any love. You got the stuff that you needed, your attention receded, then you gave me the shove. You disconnected your feelings when the legal proceedings started taking their course. Whatever he used to do, I'm pretty sure I was happier before your divorce. Love gathers like the unborn child who closes his fingers round your heart with every mother's smile. Love gathers when they turn away to show
was transfixed by that one lyrically. So sonically, it was washing over me, and you know. It's on repeat. Okay. I was like, what the hell? Surely that wasn't a false ending, because it was just like the start of the track. But for some reason, I had that player on repeat, which I don't normally do. It was like the regular Windows Media Player, which I'm not sure why it was on repeat. Regardless, yeah, the Sonics were kind of secondary to me on this one because I was so trying to follow the lyrics, and I have a lot of thoughts about them more in a moment. But yeah, sonically, it was smooth and fluid. It wasn't like overly happy, but it definitely had a brighter sound to it. I enjoy the guitar work in particular, and of course her vocals, you know, very pleasant and soothing. Lyrically, it feels less soothing, but it's interesting because it's almost like she's giving herself a brutal reality check. She's being very frank about how she put her love and feeling into this relationship, and precisely when she did so is when the other person revealed they didn't really care. They unplugged their emotional connection and, you know, began moving away, pushing her away, shoving her out. So she feels, it sounds like she's, in a way, criticizing them, the guy, also seemingly kind of critiquing herself, at least implicitly, in the sense that, like, you know, she shouldn't have fallen for this, or she shouldn't have committed so heavily to it, and now it sounds like the love's still kind of there, but she's aware it's unidirectional, it's not being reciprocated, and she's kind of left holding this emotional bag. There's a couple lines that really intrigued me, but then also there was a detail, like halfway through, or maybe in the back half of the tune, where it was like, something about, like, she's not gonna something him anymore, like, after the divorce. So I was first thinking, like, oh, did she get involved in an affair where she kind of fell for a married man, and then he kind of like, nope, I'm sticking with my wife, or I'm not gonna do this, and, you know, sorry if you, like, felt something here because this isn't happening. But, like, I thought maybe the him or he of the first part of the phrase was like a different him. And then for like half a second I was like, wait, did she fall for a guy who was like with another guy? And he kind of, you know, was maybe thinking he'd be with her, but then like, no, that's not my thing. Or like, I don't know how to read that part, but it seemed to add like another layer to otherwise what was more or less a straightaway song about a relationship that dried up, or at least on one side, again, had the plug pulled. So yeah, I don't quite know how to read that part of the track. But otherwise, again, it sounds like the narrator went for it and then felt like she was standing there by herself in the cold, even being shoved out of the situation, and just lamenting the way that played out. But there were two lines. Like, first it was like, love gathers like some kind of cloud, and then that like tears the faces that he made apart over time. And then like, love gathers like the unborn child, which... what is it? It does something with every mother's smile. Like, there's some lines in there, some poetic lines that I don't quite know how to interpret, but I find very intriguing and very much have this literary poetic quality to them. So yeah, a really interesting tune lyrically. I think I understand the general direction the song is functioning in, but some of the details and expressions along the way I'm less sure about. But yeah, a very cool tune, and it is, once again, awesome that after that long gap or cold period in their history, they came back to do this. So looking forward to more from the album. Once again, shout out to Phil. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.